Thank you very much, Chrissy. And I'll let you into a secret. I've had a little bit of coaching from Chrissy recently. So if I do well today, it's all on her. And the alternative we won't consider. So thank you very much, and thank you for having me here, and thank you to the conference organisers again for putting on an absolutely brilliant conference. This is the third time I've stood on this stage since we listed in 2020. And it's always enjoyable. And one of the things is when you sit down to write the presentation. So this is a rebuild. This is a new way of telling the story. And it's predicated on a email from a shareholder. Those of you who have seen me speak before know I always invite you to get in touch. We love feedback. We love to talk to shareholders. And if you send us an email, we will get back to you. And after we put out the scoping study, I think it was day 10 of a roadshow in a cold 3-star hotel in Melbourne, he sent me a message saying, right, what is the plan? Where is your direction? What next? I don't like this stage. And my response was what you're going to hear over the next 10 minutes, although somewhat condensed into a shorter email. So I'll draw your attention to the usual disclaimers. We have 2 because we put out a scoping study recently, so overachieving on the disclaimers. In terms of corporate work, we've kept this tight. The register is tight, 140 million shares on issue. The chairman, our second largest shareholder, who's in the audience today and available to talk at the booth. I've had the pleasure of saying this before. It is an incredibly involved and supportive board befitting of a much larger company. Not only have we kept things tight, we've consolidated 100% ownership of our project through the takeover of Torrens Mining. That gives us 100% and makes us masters of our own destiny, however we take this project forward, however we commercialize it. Come on. There we go. We listed the asset in 2020, October 2020, the Elizabeth Creek asset, the Elizabeth Creek Copper Project. And although this has only been listed 2.5 years, the area has been host to mining for over 100. In an industry where the term Tier 1 gets thrown around like confetti, this is genuinely a Tier 1 jurisdiction. Our neighbours, or actually should say neighbour now, BHP and its new subsidiary Oz Minerals, have been mining here and exploring here for decades and very successfully. But the project wasn't without its challenges. We lacked scale for a credible go-forward case on listing. We had metallurgical challenges, recovery issues, a flow sheet that didn't take into account processing cobalt, and a problem child at Windabout. And so we lent on the DNA of the company. We are at heart a group that believes in exploration and driving shareholder value through exploration. We're also a group of problem solvers. And so first, we got to delivering a resource at Emmy Bluff, and that we did. According to a recent Oz Minerals presentation, this is the 6th largest primary copper deposit in Australia undeveloped and the 11th largest primary overall. 43 million tonnes at 1.84%. We suddenly had the scale. We had the go-forward case. We got working on the metallurgy. We developed a flow sheet which lent on one of the great strengths of this project, the cobalt in Carolite. It floats so well, plus 90% to concentrate, plus 96% to final product battery-grade cobalt sulfate in recoveries. We optimized Windabout, changing the fundamental bulk mining paradigm to a selective paradigm, and we retained experienced mining consultants who understood flat dipping geometry from overseas projects. The mining, one of the strengths of this project, one of the downsides of underground projects, it takes a little while to get down there. We have 2 open pits, MG14, just 14 meters below the ground. Look at those grades. 1.42% in an open pit from mostly free-dig dune sand. Windabout, the problem child, still over 1% copper, nearly over 1.7 if you take into account the cobalt credits. And Emmy Bluff, 1.42%. These are fantastic grades and give us very strong basis for the processing down to final product. In March 2023, we delivered the scoping study and were finally able to put numbers around this project in the market. And these are good numbers, nearly $6 billion of revenue over life of mine, $1.3 billion of net cash flow, 570 million NPV, 26.5% IRR, and a staged process that gives us the ability to drive revenue in the early stages, just 277 mil upfront capex. This is one of the lowest capital intensity projects of its type in Australia and one of the highest IRRs. That AISC of just $2.19 US a pound, again demonstrating well slap in the third quartile of existing producers. As I talk to this, please remember we took a disparate group of assets. We took them along the path you can see on this timeline of commercialization. We took them through resource development, resource definition. We took them through metallurgy. We developed a flow sheet. We developed a mine plan. And so I imagine you're here because of leverage to copper. And with the inexorable trend towards decarbonisation, I believe this offers some of the best exposure to copper anywhere. It has low sensitivity to capex in an industry beset by capital project blowouts for the billion-dollar-plus mega projects. It is extremely leveraged to the copper price. Just a 20% upside to the current spot price delivers over $1 billion US. And if you're seeing some of the forecasts coming at the moment, that is a very credible outcome. Very, very low risk profile. Exceptional ESG. I'll be talking on the ESG panel tomorrow with Social Suite at lunchtime. I encourage people to come along to that. But we have a genuine tier 1 jurisdiction. It's the right place at the right time. This is an exceptional asset. The world is moving towards decarbonisation. Copper is moving into short supply. The goal on listing in 2020, this will be a mine. And so I move on to the next part. One of the challenges of putting out a scoping study is that shareholders tend to look at this as the cap. Oh great, we know what the upside is now. But this is not the case with Coda Minerals. We have significant exploration here. And so as we've taken a challenging disparate group of assets through into the next stages of commercialization, right through the scoping study and now into PFS, we turn our focus back to the higher risk but much higher reward exploration on the tenure. Again, Elizabeth Creek has been known as a major piece in the puzzle in IOCG exploration elephant country for many, many years. MEIOCG was known about at the time of the Olympic Dam discovery. MEIOCG laterally offset to our resource at Emmy Bluff and about 400 meters further below the ground was the result of a significant focused targeting and geophysical program. The first hole in June 2021 led to immediate success. We hit 200 meters of alteration, 50 meters of visual sulfides. That assayed to over 35 meters at 1%. We got serious. We drilled 23,000 meters of diamond drilling. 21 holes, all of 3 hit mineralization. Most of that mineralization well above the mined grades of IOCGs in the region. But it didn't hold together as a coherent whole at this point. We've got multiple stacked loads. We've got intercepts above 2 and 3%. But what we haven't got is a clear go-forward case yet. What I remind you is that IOCGs are laterally very small. And we have drilled only a small part of the geophysical anomaly. The biggest issue for us is that our exploration model based on the drilling wasn't sufficient to explain what we were seeing in the drill core. And so, again, we lent on our core DNA as a company, exploration, problem solving. We got serious about next stage generation of targets, about understanding that model. We undertook 2 major geophysical surveys, which have revolutionized the exploration model, the geological model, and our thinking about the project. You can see here the MEIOCG area of interest. You can see the drill holes to date just below Emmy Bluff. Almost certainly part of the same structural system, almost certainly not part of the same mineralizing event. If you'd like to see a detailed explanation of the geology, then I would refer you to our YouTube page where our exploration manager, Matt Weber, explains the concept and the geological model using tissue boxes of all things. We like to keep things high impact and low cost at Coda, but I think it's very much worth 5 minutes of your time. The 2 geophysical surveys led to a huge revolution in our thinking and our geological model. We have identified new structures in a completely different orientation to the previous thinking. That has given us new targets. Not only that, we've identified and understood the model to a much greater extent about how ME Bluff relates to ME IOCG, and it probably wasn't as most people think. And again, I'll refer you to the YouTube channel if you'd like more detailed technical information. What this has resulted in is targets, real targets. In my opinion, some of the most exciting undrilled copper targets anywhere right now. And so at the start of this talk, I promised you a plan. And we do have a plan. And I think it's a very good plan. And it's backed by a strong cash balance. And it's backed by a problem-solving team with good track record on this tenure. The PFS work, we're focused on high-value driver initiatives. The main one is optimizing that mining underground at ME Bluff. We already have a very credible mine plan that's passed multiple peer reviews. But there's the opportunity to leverage new machines underground. So electric machines, mechanical cutting, new styles of loaders, which has the potential to revolutionize the way that we look at this, extend mine life, mine more selectively, mine at lower cost. The XRF work, the ore sorting XRF work is an extension of that. And we're also focused on the critical path. Now, it doesn't drive exciting news flow, I'll be honest. But when you start talking to the types of companies that fund this, that partner with companies like us, and that take us forward, whether we do it organically and end up looking at debt, or whether it's early partnerships, experienced people want to see this work done. So we're focused on this in a professional way. I've already talked to the exploration. These are exciting targets, not just IOCG, but also extensions to ME Bluff, which we've long suspected. And again, now we have a geological model for that exploration. And we're targeting business development. We're looking at opportunities. Having the first downstream processing hydromet plant for cobalt to battery grade gives us other opportunities around the Gawler Craton. Cash 5.9 in bank at the end of the quarter. Current programs are fully funded. And with commercialization, we're very focused. I have a background in M&A, as does our chairman. We've set up an incredibly professional data room. We have defense advisors appointed. We are in, albeit very early stage discussions with a number of parties. We're evaluating multiple pathways forward. These include funding this ourselves. But we are open to all discussions. Strategically, we have the IOCG, huge blue sky. We have the scoping study, exceptional foundational. And so strategic options are many, and this is the time to get that right. And so I will stop here. I will encourage everyone to come and talk to us at the booth, to get in touch, info@codaminerals.com, comes straight through to my email address, my personal inbox. We've just launched a new initiative called Investor Hub. This looks exceptional. It's a way of allowing you to interact to a much greater extent than us. So if you look for the Investor Hub section on our website, we'll promote this a little bit more heavily as well. Please sign up. Please get involved. Love to hear from everyone, and I'd like to thank you very much for your time, and hope you consider Coda Minerals. Thank you.